Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we're going to talk about routines versus freedom, or when freedom and routines start to get a little intertwined, and we're going to kind of try to sort that out. So, as humans, we all have routines, right? We all have stuff we like to do at certain times, and even the most free-spirited person will have a routine. And I've always been a routine person. In my human consciousness, I was a very routine person. That was just something I was very kind of ingrained. So I knew I would get to a part of the process of ascension where you have to drop those routines. You have to learn to live a vibrational experience. You don't live make a list and tick them off experience. It's a different type of way to live. They're different realities. You don't have that linear routine anymore. So you start having to break down those routines. So even in my human consciousness, I was always looking at these people that were like, oh, I'm so free-spirited, I don't have a routine. And in a way, they didn't have as set of routine as I did, because I was pretty routine. But they still had, they have, maybe it's a more, I'm going to use the word, like, it's more macro routine. You work to make money, you go here because you like these people or whatever it is. But you still had some type of routine. And we don't start to really see a lot of that until we start breaking out of routines. And what happens when you're in the process of your breaking out of routine. And I've said this about when realities end, there are freedom codes that get released. There's a sense of relief and freedom when a reality is over. And we have sometimes guilt about that. Sometimes we will feel guilty. We're glad that's over. We'll feel guilty because, oh, that person just passed away and then they transcended to somewhere else. But I feel glad they're gone. Not glad they're gone, but there is a relief in that. There's a freedom that I don't have to do that reality anymore, and that's freedom codes. So we start getting those freedom codes. People will feel those codes when they're on vacation and they're completely out of their routine. Even if they felt like they didn't really have one, but they're now completely out of it. They're doing everything they want to do all day long. Those are freedom codes too. They're traveling, activates freedom codes. That's why a lot of people want to travel to different places. It activates freedom codes. That's why they want to go. Some people don't need to do that to activate freedom codes. Some people do. It kind of depends on, where you are in your process and how you kind of had arranged your ascension process to be. And how you were in your human consciousness too, because some of that will, everything we did in our human consciousness, every job we had does carry over. It's just kind of used in a different capacity. So it's not like we wasted time in our human consciousness. A lot of times we'll kind of feel like that, oh, I wasted my time, but we didn't waste our time. We're going to use all those skills later. And the same thing, we activate consciousness when we go to different places. When we travel, we activate freedom codes. When you're in a lot of the East Coast, you're in the United States, you're activating a lot of Atlantean timelines. You're clearing a lot of Atlantean timelines. You're activating that energy to clear it. So there's just a lot of stuff we do when we move around, but that will also activate freedom codes. So then you get to this part of the process where you kind of don't have set dates. I have certain times that I do certain things, and I can sometimes feel myself falling back into routine. Like, oh, I'll shoot videos on Tuesday and I'll have this whole story around it, right? Oh, because I do my hair and makeup because I do this stream and I don't have to do my hair and makeup to such an extent on these other days because I like to do hair and makeup when I do videos normally. Sometimes I don't. It depends, but usually I do. I don't have to do that. So I kind of could find myself my human's trying to pull me back into routine, even though I was trying not to have a routine. And then you'll also find that alarm clocks, in a sense, they're a routine, right? We get up at a certain time because you have this story around why you have to be up at that certain time. So lately I've kind of taken the alarm clock away, and I've let the cat actually be my alarm clock. When he wakes me up, that's when we get up, and I go through my day. But there's certain things that we kind of get used to. And I have had a lot of situations coming up lately where I've had to sort of rearrange my day. And it started to agitate me. And these were not, one thing was kind of something that had to be done. You had to have attention put on it. Other things, maybe little small things. People wanted to do some work around the house and they were going to be done on these days. But it was out of my, air quote, routine, which I wouldn't think I had a routine. But my human was trying to say, oh, no, it's just you, it's your freedom. You like to be able to do everything you like to do, in a sense, and you don't want to be kind of hamstrung to having to change things around. So it was kind of been a little bit of a debate with myself, like, am I in a routine? Or am I being selfish? And that comes in. Is this a selfishness I'm trying to clear? Because I don't want to be bothered with this stuff. I want to do this stuff. And there's a lot of the process where we're kind of going to do that because we don't understand the importance of doing this stuff we don't want to do. You know, I also understand that everyone I come in contact with, I need to come in contact with. That's part of what I'm here to do and be. You know, we activate different people's energy fields when we're around them, and certain people come into your life for maybe a minute, but maybe you're supposed to be there for that person for that moment. Someone came to your house to do some work and you're supposed to, you know, maybe gift them money, maybe just be there and be cheery and happy and make them laugh. And that was your part for that day. And you're always going to have sort of these kind of, I'm going to call them red herrings, come in all the time, because we have to see, can we hold and it's also a part where, can you hold your highest when you're faced with a lot of this stuff? You know, can you pull your power out if you need to? Can you pull your power out but still come from a soft place? And can you hold your highest no matter what's going on around you? But you might start to find that what you didn't think was a routine had kind of become a routine, and now you're starting to feel kind of put out when things start agitating that. But if you're feeling agitated, that's the key. If you have a story around why something has to be done at this time and why it has to be done this way and all the other things that are going to be now disheveled in my day because I can't make this mark here, or I can't do this here, you're in a routine. Even if you're trying to camouflage it as something else. And it's that linear structure. It's that linear structure that's held in our human body. It's held in our cells. It's held in our muscles. It's not an easy thing to break. I don't care how free-spirited you think you are when you're in a lot of these different realities now. It's not an easy thing to break. But if you're starting to have the anxiousness a little bit when things start getting moved around, if you're, like I said, you have the agitation, you have the story, then you kind of know you got to look at it. And you have to say, what's going on? Am I being selfish? No. Is it something else? It's someone, it's a lot of different, it's going to be a lot of different things. We have to look at the reality from a lot of different perspectives and say, okay, am I just agitated because I don't want to be put out? My universe is trying to show me, you know, you're kind of attached to the way you're doing things. You like to do it this way. Even if it's just small, mundane little things, it's still kind of a routine. You kind of have that set thing. Now, there are other parts of it where there are certain, because of how our bodies start to recalibrate and how they start to shift and change with all the light, soul light we've embodied, that we do need like so many hours in the morning for I can even really deal with people or deal with anything. I usually need like 4 or 5 hours before if I have to do something or be on a camera or something by 1, I got to be up at 5 a.m. to be ready for that 1. Because I have to, certain things I've got to do to get my vibration to that place to be able to do what I need to do. But we kind of get used to that. We get used to building in a lot of that time. Now, humans don't do that. So humans kind of come at you with this all has to be done right now and blah, blah, blah. So we kind of have to balance that. So sometimes it can be some of that too. Is someone kind of overstepping, trying to push into something, thinking it's not a big deal. What's really the agitation? What's really going on? You know, are you trying to convince yourself you're not in a routine when you are? And a lot of times you'll start to see this start to happen when you have to break that routine. So I've said before that our universe kind of sends us trial runs on stuff. It'll send us little things, you know, like if we have to align a big reality, let's say you have to align a reality with someone who you have a lot of story around, you have a lot of cords to, you have a lot of realities with, you have a lot of stuff going on. You're going to get realities to align that you don't have all that shit with. You know, there could be little mundane things, but if you can't stand in your power and align this reality, you know, this is going on over here with these people you really don't have any attachment to. You don't have any story around. You really don't care if you ever see them again. And that's going to seem a little cold, but just for this example, you know, it just doesn't really matter. You know, it doesn't really matter. Can you treat them with respect? Can you align this reality? But you really don't have the story about anything going on. You don't have the emotions around it. But if you can't align that, good luck over here with all this stuff that you have all this muck around, in a sense, that you've got all these stories around. So a lot of times we get a lot of those trial runs, and sometimes the routine thing it's the same thing. There's a zillion reasons it's happening. When we're trying to continue to master our own self and our own consciousness and be conscious in every situation, we have to look at that. Like, how do I feel about this? Why is this agitating me so much that I've got to do this thing or this thing, and now I got to go do that, and now I'm just kind of pissed off because I want to be 10 minutes later than normal. And it really got me to see how I had kind of set I'd set up a routine without knowing I'd set up a routine. Trying to bust through routines, I was setting up more routines. Because it is kind of a natural state to do, and you're kind of getting deeper and deeper into the routine program, where people would look at my day and go, really, you don't really have a routine at all. But I really did. And I kind of had this sort of thing I like to do in certain ways and certain things. And there's a part of that where we energetically do things in certain ways because that's how we're supposed to do it. We can get to it quicker. We know where everything is. So it's not so much being like anal retentive. That's kind of the human twist. And when we're human, we really kind of do it from a different energy, where we do like to have things in a certain way so we know where they are. We kind of leave things in the same place because we forget. When you shift realities, you forget where shit is. You don't remember. So you kind of always put things in the same place. But there is a part where when you're starting to having to shift, a big routine's going to have to shift, or you might have to start having other people in your reality that it might not always be so centered on you anymore. But if you can't deal with these little teeny things, good luck when you get to having to really start to look at bringing other people into your reality again on a more full-time basis. So just take a look. Take a look at what's become routine and what is just you feeling that you're into that freedom of not wanting to have to shift anything or not wanting to have to be constrained by anything. And really take a look at which one it is, because the routine thing is something we all have to break through and just really get into the vibrational realities. Like sometimes I'll think, oh, I'm going to do this today, and then that's not aligned anymore. I have to go do this. I'm fine with that. I've gotten fine with moving with that. And if it's not meant to be today, it's not meant to be. It'll be a different day. But I was finding when people were coming in on me that was when I was kind of like just feeling all that emotion. Like we have an emotion around it. If we're getting triggered, it's not even a trigger, because it's not even that. It's triggering, but it's triggering on such a low level. Sometimes we're not even sure if it's a trigger, because it's such a low level. It's just a little bit of annoyance, a little bit there. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? Why am I so agitated by this whole thing? And it can be part of a bigger story too. Look at the story you have around it. Look at all the other things it's showing you, because it's not just going to be one thing. It's always going to be a zillion things it's trying to show you. Do you have to stand for your power and say, no, you're not giving me enough notice on this. This is not acceptable. Is it not that? Is it maybe some of it is that? Maybe some of it is, yeah, but look at what it's showing me about these little things I want to get done at this certain, amount of time, and why I feel like if any little thing gets disrupted right now, I'm getting all in a tizzy about it, because I've kind of gotten used to, part of it is you get used to that reality. You might get used to just being and doing that. And when it's time to start to shift, your universe is going to bring you little things to see how you maneuver around the shift. How do you shimmy around it? Can you be really fluid with that? Or do you feel that resistance? Do you feel that body resistance? Do you feel that like really getting pissed off about something and not projecting it at anybody? Because first we got to figure out what's going on. We can't really align the reality. Do we know what's going on with the reality? So take a look at where you've become routine. What agitates you about breaking up when things agitate that, And it was kind of eye-opening for me, especially when you see a lot of it that continues to happen. You start to kind of see there's something, my universe is preparing me in a sense for something, and it's showing me. Like, we're going to give you an opportunity to work through this stuff yourself. But if you don't, we're going to work through it for you. And trust me, you do not want that to happen. So when you start to see it, when you notice you got something going on, we start to deal with it immediately, because we do not get caught with our energetic panties down anymore. We deal with it. We do not want to have the slap upside of our head or our universe crash something down on us because we didn't want to deal with it when we started to see it. So, okay, good luck and keep practicing the art of intuition.